what we're doing. Oh no, you know what we're doing.
Hello, hi everyone. Hi, so this is Mishell saying hello. So I know it's Sunday today, and we normally do Meet the Maker on Fridays, but I've met this incredible lady that I just really wanted to introduce to you and share her story with you. And we're at her gorgeous stall here in this pop-up event that I've been doing at Raffles Hotel, and I think we just had to show you. So that's why we're doing it today on Sunday, and it's Meet the maker being Kendall Hamill from Australia. Thank you, Maker. All right, we've got good sound quality. Right. Now, just a very quick synopsis. So Kendall is, I'm not going to say much about her because I wanted her to tell her story, but her story, she has so many layers to her amazing story of how this brand was born, what she does, how she makes her candles, how she does the packaging, everything, every single detail is made with love and passion that I just couldn't help but just be so inspired. So without further ado, hello Kendall!
Hi Mishell, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. It's such an honor. Like, thank you for wanting to share your story with us.
Thank you. I'd love to share my story if I can help anybody else who's thinking of doing launching a small business, or who has any just some ideas. If you have an idea and you're trying to get it out there and build it into a business, maybe my story might help someone.
Yes, I'm very sure it will. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, like what you do, or what I like to say, what you did in your past life?
Sure.
Before you started?
Sure. So I'm actually a country girl. I'm a South Australian country girl. I come from a really small country town, 7,000 people.
What's it called?
It's called Murray Bridge. So it's in South Australia.
Yeah.
People might know that. And basically my background has been in media. So I used to work for Fairfax in editorial. And then
What does that mean? What's editorial? Like, what do you do?
So I basically worked for the managing director there, and then I moved into editorial, like proofreading.
Oh,
and
wow.
that sort of thing. So
Okay,
it was a country. Fairfax is Australia's biggest media company, I guess you can say. They do rural publications in
so like magazines
and newspapers,
and
that sort of thing.
Cool. Okay.
And so I went from that background, and then I've always had an interest in interior design. So I'm an interior designer by trade as well.
Yeah.
So
you were doing that on the side?
On the side, yeah.
Like for friends and family?
Well, not more for myself. It's when having children, I had 2 boys, and I was a stay-at-home mum, and so we'd buy houses and renovate them and flip them.
Wow!
Yeah. So
Can you do my house? Yeah. Oh wow. Oh, okay. So that was your passion, like hobby. And
So design and taking something that wasn't beautiful and making it beautiful was part of what I love to do.
Yeah.
So and then we moved to Singapore. So we've moved all around Australia, I guess, and moving to Singapore when we had lots of visitors and lots of people coming over, and I just really wanted to find something with like an Asian-inspired kind of gift for them to take home, something that captured Singapore. And being an interior designer, I always finished off my rooms with candles and diffusers. And so I went out and I was looking for this candle or diffuser that was Oriental inspired. And I couldn't find it a year or so ago, like maybe 2 years ago. So then I started experimenting. I've got a creative background, and I just started making my own candles.
Hang on, how do you just start making your own candle? Like how? Like, did you Google how to make a candle, or how does one start that?
I can't actually remember how I started, but I just started. Well, the internet's an amazing thing, so I found some suppliers for candle ingredients, and I started getting those in and just cooking in my kitchen basically.
What?
And then my friends I tested it on them, and they said, that's a great idea, you should do this. And it went to the point where I was just doing little candles for family and friends, and then giving them to friends, and then they went into boxes, and the boxes got more and more professional along the way. And it wasn't to the point where I was my husband's going, okay, you really should do something with this, because it was really being well received. And then it wasn't to the point where it gets to you're employing professionals where they have minimum order quantities. So when you're talking to someone and saying, yes, I can do your packaging, it's 1,000 minimum order quantity for a box. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I think I should get serious about this, and so I did. And my husband backed me. And he said, no, just go for it, because all the time you're thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? You know? It's all that self-doubt.
Yeah, oh yeah, when we talked about that self-doubt, like,
so much.
What were some of the self-doubts that you had, like, in that
self-doubt was like, I'm just, you know,
just a nobody, like I'm this little person.
I'm just this, you know, mum basically with 2 boys in Singapore in a foreign country. How can I possibly compete with anybody that's in the market already? And then when I listen to those voices, I wake up in the morning and think, there's no way this is going to happen. And then when you talk to some women that are just saying, just keep going, Kendall, just take that extra step. And just, my husband was very supportive as well. And he's going, no, just go for it, you know, just go for it. And so I kept going, and every day when I wake up, I kind of had that self-doubt, and then maybe I'd get a call from someone that I'd rang with an inquiry, or maybe I'd receive another fragrance sample. So those little things would keep me going. Yeah, so it's finding the little nuggets. The little things. To keep you going and telling yourself, like, you know, to keep positive. Like, you can do it. So it's the little steps. And I always say it's the little thing that counts. Like, there's no big thing. I was just talking recently about, you know, some people ask me, how do you find your passion? I'm like, it's not something you just find and then it explodes. It develops. It grows. It starts from a little flame, and you just keep stoking it and stoking it. That's right. And I say to people who do think that they have an idea, just keep taking that extra step every day. And it's the people who decide not to take that step that don't end up doing it. So if you just decide to take that one step every day, it can lead to something. It really can. And so now I have a bazillion boxes in my house. Show us your gorgeous boxes, right? And just show us. Like, I love the look and feel of it. It feels amazing, so luxurious. So tell us a story, because I love this story. Right? So anyone who knows me knows that I'm addicted to tassels. I have tassels on everything. I have tassels on my bags, my purse, my home. There's just tassels everywhere. So I think I do have a problem. So I wanted to incorporate the Asian aesthetic with this as well. And this is a hand-knotted eternal knot tassel. And this is made by a lovely, lovely artisan here in Singapore. She makes hundreds and hundreds of these for me. In Chinatown. So she's in Chinatown, and you seeked her out. Yes, so I sought her out in Chinatown. But this is the eternal knot tassel, which has a significant meaning in Asian culture. It symbolises good luck, longevity, eternal love between beings, and an interconnection, like an auspicious interconnection. So I wanted to incorporate that on my packaging, so if you're giving it as a gift, it has a little deeper meaning as well. And so there's a little story on the back here of every box about the meaning of the eternal knot tassel. Oh wow! And they're Singaporean inspired in that they're black and white, which symbolises the black and white architecture of Singapore. So that's so clever. Well, and I love your story about these little hole punch here. Oh yes. So how this all came about, and what, like, you know, tell us about that. Okay. What about that little hole there? This little hole here. I first started punching in myself. So when I wanted to attach a tassel, I thought, how am I going to do this? So punching it by hand with my little hand tool here. And that was when in the very early days, just to get it on the box itself. And then I found a really great printer that helped me with the packaging and said, we can do the hole punching for you. So I'm like, that's great. So all really those late nights of punching holes. They're gone. But I think that's exactly it, isn't it? Entrepreneurship is something, you know, like all these little things, the late nights of punching holes, the non-sexy stuff, is what people don't really talk about. It's not glamorous at all. And I import all of my ingredients still from Australia, and I hand make every single thing. So I hand pour all of the candles. It's very labor intensive, but I know every single thing that goes into that candle. They're not mass produced in China. They're actually made with love, painstakingly, but I still am doing that. So I'm making everything by hand, but of course this is professionally printed and everything. I'm not. So can you tell us a little bit about like the thought process and inspirations behind your candles? And when we do that, I'm going to turn around and show people your candles.
and like for, you know, because I love the way they're packaged and just presented. I mean, it's so practical. But you know, we were talking about how you actually boil, like, you know, sterilize each glass jar.
Yeah, so each glass was hand washed, so they're imported glassware and each one's hand washed.
Yeah.
And basically they're heated to a certain temperature.
Yeah.
The wax is heated to a certain temperature. The fragrance is added at a certain temperature. Every candle has a different size wick because the wick interacts differently with each fragrance.
Wow.
So they're actually really temperamental
Really
little.
technical.
They're very temperamental little things. And every candle has a different amount of fragrance because fragrance weighs differently.
Yeah.
It has a different density.
Yeah.
But I basically wanted to develop a range of fragrances that were oriental inspired. You might smell when you walk through the botanic gardens, the fragrances you might smell on holiday in Asia. So I wanted something that embodied Asia and Singapore
Yeah.
in a little portable.
Oh.
Yeah. And I also wanted something that was design neutral, so
Yeah.
aesthetically neutral. It
Yeah.
had to blend
Oh, that's
with,
important.
yeah.
Yes.
So it had to blend with any interior, which is why.
So you can go into anybody's homes. So you can just
That's
like, it's a good gift because you can just like get it and give it to anyone without having to
right,
worry
that's
about the impact on their home.
Correct. So I don't love the big gaudy labels.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's very
yeah.
simple, very aesthetically neutral.
Well, it's very, very elegant and modern, which is what I really love about it. And yet, you know, luxurious and yet meaningful. I think that's very important. So it has meaning behind every single detail. And that's gorgeous. Hello. But like, I really love the lime, basil, and mandarin. So, like, can you just kind of, for people like us who have no idea, I love candles, right?
Yes.
But I have no idea how do you source what ingredient? How do you make that?
Well, the ingredient, lime, basil, mandarin is actually quite a well-known fragrance combination.
Okay, yeah.
But for myself, I have a certain idea about how I'd like certain
Yeah.
things to smell. Like there are frangipani fragrances, but for my frangipani or my lime basil, I needed it to smell a certain way.
Yeah.
And I just developed something that I love, and hopefully other people will love too. So, yeah.
So you just sort of like mix and match and then see what it turns out to be.
There's a lot of weighing. I have lots of, my house is like a laboratory. There's lots of glass jars with millimeters and half millimeters.
Wow.
So I'm measuring, pouring, blending.
Were you good at chemistry in school?
I was good at biology, but not
Wow.
chemistry.
Because it sounds like a chemist thing, right? Like all these bubbly.
But again, like you were saying, it's very much a learned process.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you start on the road, it's just learning as you go. And the internet's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
The people you meet are wonderful.
Yes.
Because the more people you meet, the more you kind of glean their knowledge as well.
Yeah.
So, but basically, it was me in my home developing fragrances and just trial and error. And then you get such a thing as it's called candle nose, and it gets to the point where you can't smell anything.
Oh yeah, but you can't smell anything anymore.
So then you have to have a break. You have a break for about a week.
Do you smell coffee beans then?
I just drink a lot of coffee. A lot of coffee's been used in the formulation of these products.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a process, and for anybody who's thinking that I've got this idea but I'm just not sure about it, just keep going and take a step every day, just one more step, or take a break, but don't give up, because it's like I was saying, I believe in the abundance theory as well. I think if you're thinking, oh, but somebody else already does this, I really believe that there's room for everybody. And I really believe
that.
That's, you know, self-doubt's the worst of all.
Yeah.
So that self-doubt's going, no, I can't do this. Just take one little step at a time.
It's a little step, one step at a time.
And I can't tell you the amount of times I was ready to just, I'm carrying boxes of candles and I'm going, what am I doing? I've got no idea.
All right, hello, we're back. Sorry we
Again.
got cut off. Facebook cut us off. I'm sorry. So now we're back, part two.
We are.
Right, okay, so we were talking about the candles and like the packaging and yes, how you make the scents. What I want to really kind of share with people is your philosophy on your luck, what brings you luck. Your lucky earrings, your lucky uniform. Like
I
the
do.
whole thing.
I'm a little bit superstitious. So these are my lucky earrings. I wear these at every single fair.
Yeah.
So people probably think, my God, doesn't that woman have anything else to wear?
Yeah.
I think these are my lucky earrings.
Are they
this
gorgeous?
Is basically my uniform.
This is your uniform?
This is my black shop girl. You know, I don't have to
How
think
many
about
pairs of that do you have? Like you have like a whole wardrobe.
yeah, I have a few. I have a few black alternate dresses, but yeah, I'm a little bit superstitious, and I have so my lucky earrings, my lucky dress, and I have a lucky scent that I also burn at fairs, so which is star jasmine, which happens to be my #1 seller. So I don't know if it's because I'm burning it, people smell it.
Yeah.
But I love the fragrance, and it's burning all the time. So if people come in, that's what you'll be smelling is my star jasmine.
Well, and it smells gorgeous here. It just smells wonderful.
Thank you.
And obviously, I want to say this works because today has been an amazing day so far, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't really say too much yet.
Correct.
But there's been amazing opportunities, I was going to say. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? So where does Temple grow from here? So you were at the boutiques recently, this massive event in Singapore where you completely sold out.
Yeah, I sold out on a lot of items, and I had to go home that night and actually make more product for the next day.
God.
So I'm making stuff to sell the next day.
Wow.
But I think lots of vendors, it's a fantastic event, boutiques. I'm sure lots of Singaporeans or Singapore residents know about it.
Yeah.
It's really an amazing event.
Yeah.
So I launched there a month ago, and it was an amazingly received product.
Yeah.
So, and now for the future, for 2017, I'll be expanding into Australia and still having my presence here, and hopefully in some other overseas cities.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
that would be exciting. Oh my God. Like, so the brand, you're expanding the brand. We're going international. It's not just going to be in Singapore, but you're still going to source everything locally from Australia.
Correct, yeah.
You're still
So-
making them at home, or is that the plan?
Well, I need a bigger production facility,
Yeah.
but all of my ingredients, because they're from Australia and I'll be there anyway, it kind of makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I'll be visiting Singapore, coming over to the big fairs and coming over to just do this type of thing to keep touch with base. And I love Singapore, so I never want to leave really. But yeah, it just it reached a point where my husband was offered a position in Australia.
Yeah.
And for the good of the whole family, I have older children. We're thinking about uni. We're thinking about where we need to go with that for the next 2 years. So we decided for a family we needed to move back.
And that's what we were talking about, right? Like part of being a mompreneur, which is what I call it. You know, it's not just about the business. We have to consider the husband's career, the children's future. So it's balancing all that and juggling all that. That is a challenge as well. I think especially a challenge for mompreneurs.
It is, and you do have to consider everybody, and you're thinking about everybody at every stage in their life as well. But collectively as a family, we made a decision that we thought would be the right thing. And I have a really supportive husband who also, you know, he's kind of the one with the sharp stick going, you can do this, you can do this, you know, and, you know, in the other countries aspect side of things, because that's his forte as well. So he's experienced in that side of things. So he's really, really supportive, and I really believe that if you have that supportive network and family, you can do anything. Even when those times where you're going, what am I doing? You can still do it. And it occasionally just takes a word or two of just keep going. I keep saying keep going, but I really do mean keep going.
And that vision, so you have this vision, like you actually visualize seeing your candles in particular
in particular stores and places, and I really thought I could do it, and then once you're in it you think you can't do it, and then you think you can do it and you cannot, and it's a continual state of flux and flow, so it is really normal. But I almost completely dropped it a couple of times, and on those days I would just receive something or hear from somebody that would just keep me going. And it's those little things, just hang on to them, and I keep saying keep going, but I really mean just keep going.
And I say that, just keep going, or I say just jump, just do it. And I have to say, like, you know, having met your husband and children, your sons, they're so proud of you. That was the first thing I noticed when we came in to set up. And I saw this, you know, white guy, Western guy, like setting up candles. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, the guy, he must be the husband. But he had this look of pride and love in his face. And then your sons came. I'm like, oh my God, they're all so proud of mommy. And that's so beautiful to watch. It really is. And it makes me think it is possible for, you know, people to do this as a family, and you know, for mums to have a dream and pursue that. It is totally possible.
And I think they thought I was quite mad in the beginning, like every day they come home from school, I'm like, there's so many smells in the house, can you just cook some bolognese, can you just cook some food, for God's sake? And
Instead
then,
of cooking candles.
and then when, you know, productions start to get bigger and there's thousands of boxes coming in, then they go, oh, okay, then the penny starts to drop. With the children, this is. That something's going on in the house that's not just playing around. They're super proud and super supportive, and my husband's really been the one that's really backed me. Just in the you know, keeping going side of things. He's just really been the one that's going, no, come on, get on out there. So and having sometimes a disproportionate belief that you can helps.
I know, my husband is super optimistic. Like he thinks I'll be a superstar. I'm like, what? I think you're the only person that believes that. I don't know who else is. I don't. So, but it does help. It does help to have that one person who is crazily optimistic about you, to keep you going in those moments of doubts. And there will be many moments of doubts.
Absolutely. And still now, like I'm sure we were discussing, it's still with you and still with me, and you know, challenges to moving country, and there's always something in business too that it's a hurdle or a blip, and there's never going to be smooth sailing. There's always something to overcome, and when you think you've got that sorted, there's something else to overcome. But I really think it's those moments that show the ones that, okay, I'm really serious about this, and I am going to move through it. But also, it's not brain surgery. Like it's lovely candles and it's diffusers. So although it's not life changing for many people, I hope it brings people some joy and some
happiness at home. So, this brings us nicely to winding up the interview, and you know, I think what I always ask my interviewees at the end, what would be, you know, if there's one thing through your journey that you would, I wouldn't say advise or pass on to someone else, another woman or mom out there who's looking to do something, what would you say that is?
Okay, I would say initially, I think if you've got a thought and you think something's needed in the marketplace, then loads of other people think the same thing. So I think if you think it's somebody else is thinking for it or looking for it, so develop that idea if you can, and have a laser focus in your brain about what you want to do, what you want to achieve, but also know you're going to have that serious days of self-doubt, and they are so normal.
So normal.
And everybody here at this fair has just said, okay, I just have days where I just don't know how I'm going to keep going. So that is so normal. But seriously, if you have that idea and other people you think might be interested, just launch it with a little friend base first and see what their reaction is. Really good at that. And that's what I did. I did a little launch with 8 girlfriends, and I said, what do you think? What do you think? And they loved it. So based on that, you can only go bigger. But and also there's a quote that I love and I saw, and it was never compare your beginning to someone else's middle. So don't go around saying, oh, I can't compete in that market, I'm too small. You have to start somewhere. And I had a really lovely friend of mine, Natalie Elbridge, from She Designs the Rings, from Elbridge Designs. Oh wow. She says, look, if it's not ready, if the package is not ready, chuck it in the bag, put some tissue on it, who cares, just start somewhere.
It's so true.
So she was one of the ones also that said those words that you grab onto. You're like, yeah, you're right. And you know, people don't expect perfection. Get as close as you can, get as close as your idea. You will have to compromise a little bit on it. But you know, stay as close to what you think you want to make or produce or do as what you can.
And just put it out there. Take one step at a time.
One step at a time. It's every day. I keep saying, take that step. I really, really mean it. I really mean it. That step every day.
It's really, really true.
It's
so true.
And you know, you're down the track. You might be doing something you never thought was possible.
That's very true. Like, who would have thought, like, 2 months ago you would be where you are now?
No idea. But and even when boutiques came, I wasn't sure how the product would be received either, but people loved it. So I'm adamant that if you like something or if you have an idea, other people do too. You know? So that's my advice.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you, kid. I'm gonna miss you. I can't believe we just gotten to know each other, and then you're off to Australia.
I'll be on that plane.
Wow, okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Mishell.
thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful interview, and I hope you really enjoyed it. And check her out. Like, you have a Facebook page, or tell people how to find you.
Oh, I have I have an online store, www.templecandles.com, and
Yep.
I also have a Facebook, so Temple Candles, and Instagram.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon. Bye from Singapore. Bye. Cool.